Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be, diving into Mike Michalowicz's Profit First.
Okay.
This book, it's really aimed at entrepreneurs and business owners.
Mm-hmm.
But the core concepts, I think, are pretty universally applicable, especially when it comes to managing personal finances.
Right.
You might already be familiar with the basics of money management.
Yeah.
But get ready for some unconventional wisdom that could totally shift your whole perspective.
Absolutely. What I find so interesting about Profit First is how it really challenges our conventional thinking about finances.
Mm-hmm.
We're often led to believe that revenue is king, but Michalowicz shows us how that can actually be a kind of a dangerous mindset.
Especially for entrepreneurs.
Especially for entrepreneurs.
And it's something that he kind of learned firsthand. Michalowicz, he had this aha moment after selling his second company for millions. Feeling successful. Indulged in 3 cars, a Dodge Viper, a Land Rover, and a really tricked out BMW.
He was living the dream.
Yeah, really embodying that Midas touch mentality,
But then what happened?
Well, that's the thing. Despite that early success, he ended up losing millions, falling into what he calls the survival trap.
The survival trap? What is that?
This vicious cycle of, selling more and more just to cover those mounting expenses.
Right,
so many businesses find themselves on this treadmill, working tirelessly without really making any, significant financial headway.
It's like you're running but not getting anywhere.
And it's something that I think so many of us can relate to, that feeling of working hard, supposedly making money, but never really getting ahead financially.
Yeah.
It's just a recipe for stress and burnout. Now, Michalowicz contrasts the traditional generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP, with his profit-first approach. GAAP focuses on the formula. Sales minus expenses equals profit.
Right. Pretty standard.
Right. Profit first completely flips this, making profit the top priority.
How does it do that?
Well, instead it becomes sales minus profit equals expenses.
Interesting.
So it's a simple shift, but it creates a really profound psychological change.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's not just about accounting anymore. It's about aligning your actions, directly with your financial well-being.
Makes sense.
And it resonates with human behavior.
Right.
Because we tend to prioritize those, immediate needs over long-term goals.
We do.
And this reminds me of this really poignant moment in the book where Michalowicz finds himself in this, tough financial spot. He couldn't cover his taxes. It was Valentine's Day. And his 9-year-old daughter offered her piggy bank to help.
Ah.
Yeah. And this piggy bank moment, it was a real turning point for him. It forced him to confront his unsustainable financial patterns.
And that's when he came up with the idea for Profit First.
Exactly. He realized the need for a system that worked with human nature, not against it.
Okay, so tell me about this Profit First system.
Okay, so Profit First, it's a set of guidelines to help you make smarter financial decisions. And it doesn't require you to, become a budgeting guru.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, right. A central idea is the small plates concept.
Small plates.
Yeah. So similar to how smaller plates, naturally lead us to eat less. Profit First advocates for allocating predetermined percentages of your revenue to separate accounts.
I see.
So instead of having one big account, you create these dedicated accounts for profit, owner's pay, taxes, and operating expenses.
Got it.
Think of your income like a pizza. You're slicing it up into designated portions.
I like that analogy.
And this forces financial discipline by restricting spending.
So you're basically creating that sense of scarcity.
Exactly. It's like tricking our minds into being, more financially responsible.
I like it.
Another key component is the 10-25 rhythm, where bills are paid twice a month on the 10th and the 25th. So this rhythm, it establishes this really predictable cash flow, prevents those last-minute scrambles, and encourages, proactive financial management.
You're in control instead of just reacting.
Right. You're not just reacting to expenses as they pop up.
And it keeps you from getting hit with late fees too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Those can really add up over time.
For sure.
Now, here's the really motivating part of the Profit First system.
Okay, I'm listening.
You get to take a quarterly distribution of your profits.
Wait, so we get to actually keep some of the money we make?
You got it. It's a really important part of the Profit First framework. Remember, we're trying to rewire our thinking here to prioritize profit and actually reward ourselves for our hard work.
Right.
These quarterly distributions are like tangible proof that the business works for you, not the other way around.
That's a powerful concept.
And it applies whether you're running a company or just, managing your personal finances.
You're the one in charge.
Exactly. Now, Michalowicz tells this story about his friend, Keat, who accumulated like $1 million in debt.
Yeah.
While he was busy chasing revenue, but not focusing on profit.
Oh, wow. $1 million in debt.
Yeah.
That's rough.
And this highlights a really common trap. We make financial decisions based on our, peak performance periods.
Oh, yeah.
Like we have one great month and we overspend, thinking that's the new normal. And it creates this false sense of security.
I've definitely been there.
So how do we break out of this cycle?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it?
It is.
Or should I say the profit question?
The profit question. Exactly.
Well, tell me, how do we do it? How do we break free?
Well, we need to shift our focus from just increasing revenue to finding ways to boost profitability through efficiency.
Efficiency.
Yeah. Michalowicz uses this great analogy of Idaho's underground lakes.
Underground lakes.
Yeah. So vast reserves of water hidden beneath the surface. Or businesses, much like those lakes, they hold this untapped profit potential, just waiting to be discovered.
I like that. So we have to dig a little deeper, huh?
We do. But these hidden lakes of profit, how do we tap into them?
I'm all ears.
All right. Well, one way is by streamlining our operations and embracing efficiency.
Streamlining, okay.
And that means not just working harder, but working smarter.
I'm all for working smarter, not harder.
Me too. And one way to do this is by, and this might sound a little counterintuitive, but by firing bad clients.
Firing clients?
Yeah. As Michalowicz suggests, it might seem counterintuitive, but
it's like that.
A strategic study found that the bottom 25% of clients often actually cause businesses to lose money.
Really?
Yeah. They demand a ton of time, tons of resources, without actually contributing much to the bottom line.
They're like energy vampires.
Yeah. And letting go of these clients, it can actually free up space for the ones that truly align with your business.
Makes sense. It's about quality, not quantity.
It's about making strategic choices and recognizing that saying no can sometimes be the best way to move forward.
Sometimes you have to prune those dead branches.
Exactly. And that leads us to another efficiency strategy, which is cloning ideal clients. Identify your most profitable clients and really focus on attracting more just like them.
Cloning, okay, I like it.
Yeah. So focusing on a specific client type, it allows you to streamline processes, specialize your marketing.
Sure.
And this approach can lead to major efficiency gains.
So you're building a system that works.
Exactly. Think of it like crafting this well-oiled machine that's just generating consistent profit.
I like the way you think.
Michalowicz, he really emphasizes streamlining operations through this story about his friend Ernie, who has a landscaping business.
Landscaping, okay.
Ernie was taking on every job that came his way without really considering the efficiency of his operations.
So he was busy, but was he actually making money?
That's the question. He was, constantly adding tasks, buying new equipment, but without thinking about the overall impact on his profitability.
Kind of like putting out fires without addressing the root cause.
Exactly. It's about building a business that operates intelligently and efficiently.
So systems and processes are key.
Absolutely. Clear workflows, task automation, resource optimization. These things can significantly enhance your profitability without having to just endlessly chase new clients.
Sounds good to me. Now, once you've got those basics down, Michalowicz introduces some more advanced techniques, right?
Right. Like using multiple bank accounts.
Multiple bank accounts.
Yeah, to further reduce temptation and create those psychological barriers.
Interesting.
Like having a separate bank for your profit account, for example. Makes it harder to spend that money impulsively.
It's like putting your savings in a vault with multiple locks.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And then he also talks about hiding accounts.
Hiding accounts. How do you hide an account?
Well, you can use those online banking features, to your advantage. You can hide certain account balances so you don't even see them when you log in.
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And this can be a really powerful tool, especially if you're someone who, tends to justify spending based on what you think you have available.
I could see that.
If you don't see it, you're less likely to spend it.
Makes sense. So it encourages you to stick to those allocations you set up.
Right. And then there are also these advanced allocation strategies that he talks about.
Okay, like what?
Like creating additional accounts for specific purposes, like a stocking account to manage inventory purchases.
Stocking account, okay.
Or a drip account for like handling retainers or prepayments. These accounts help you really fine-tune your system.
So it's not just a one-size-fits-all approach. You can customize it.
Exactly. And the really cool thing is these principles, they can be applied to our personal finances too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a business owner to benefit from this.
That's awesome.
You can set up a similar system with separate accounts for your savings, bills, daily expenses. And this can help you prioritize financial security, achieve your long-term goals.
Like buying a house or retiring early.
Exactly. It's all about taking control of your financial destiny instead of letting your money control you.
That's what I'm all about.
Me too.
So let's recap. What are the 10 key takeaways from Profit First?
Okay. Number 1, Profit First is a system that manages your money by allocating set percentages of your income to separate accounts. So that profit is always the priority.
Number 2, that traditional JAP accounting method. It can actually trap businesses in this cycle of selling more to cover rising expenses.
Number 3, when you prioritize profit, you break free from that cycle, and you can build a truly sustainable business.
Number 4, employ those small plates. Remember those separate accounts for profit, owner's pay, taxes, and operating expenses. This limits your spending and encourages financial discipline.
Number 5, pay bills twice a month, on the 10th and 25th. This helps you create a consistent cash flow pattern.
Number 6, take a quarterly distribution of your profits. This reinforces the idea that the business works for you, not the other way around.
Number 7, debt is a drain on profitability. Tackle it aggressively, and don't use your profits to cover expenses.
Number 8, uncover found money within your business by focusing on efficiency strategies. This can help you optimize operations and boost profitability.
Number 9, fire those unprofitable clients and attract those ideal clients who are going to improve your revenue and your profit margins.
And finally, number 10, apply those profit-first principles to your personal finances. This will help you build financial security and reach those long-term goals.
Wow. That was a whirlwind of information.
Yeah.
It's incredible how such a simple system can have such a profound impact on our financial well-being.
You know, what I find so compelling about Profit First is that it's not just about the mechanics of the system. It's about the shift in mindset that it encourages.
Absolutely.
By changing our thinking, by prioritizing profit, we take control of our money and we build a more secure future.
Welcome back to our exploration of Profit First.
You know, one thing that really strikes me about this book is how Michalowicz acknowledges the emotional side of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so often, our financial decisions are driven by, fear or scarcity, even guilt sometimes.
It's like we have these deep-seated money beliefs that are holding us back from true financial freedom.
Right. And Profit First offers a framework for overcoming those limitations.
I see.
By taking concrete steps that actually align with our natural desire for rewards and stability.
So it's like we're kind of gamifying our way to better financial well-being.
Exactly. Now, in the last segment, we talked about setting up those small plates, those separate bank accounts for different financial goals.
Right.
So let's dig into how those work in practice.
Okay, yeah.
So picture your main business checking account, where all the revenue flows in. We'll call this your income account. Now, instead of letting that account just be this free-for-all for expenses, you're going to allocate a predetermined percentage of every deposit to your other accounts.
So, for example, if my profit allocation is 5%, then every time I make a deposit into my income account, I immediately transfer 5% of that over to my separate profit account.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you do the same thing for your other accounts, your owner's pay, taxes, and operating expenses.
Got it.
By consistently allocating these percentages, you're ensuring that profit is always prioritized and that you're meeting your financial obligations before you even think about spending.
So it's like paying yourself and the government first before getting caught up in the day-to-day operating costs of the business.
Precisely. Now, you might be wondering, what if there isn't enough money in my operating expenses account to cover all my bills?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because we're so used to, starting with expenses and then seeing what's left over.
Right. But Profit First turns that conventional thinking on its head. And this is where the magic happens. By limiting the amount of money you have available for expenses, you're forced to get more creative, more resourceful.
I like that.
You start looking for ways to cut costs, negotiate better deals, find more efficient ways to operate.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Exactly. A little bit of financial pressure can actually unlock a lot of potential for innovation and efficiency.
And I imagine another big benefit is breaking free from that cycle of debt.
Absolutely. When you're consistently allocating money to profits and taxes, you're less likely to need to rely on credit cards or loans to cover expenses.
Which can be a game changer.
Yeah.
Because debt can really be a drag on profitability.
Both for businesses and individuals. It's like carrying around this extra weight that prevents you from reaching your full potential.
Now, let's talk about that owner's pay account,
Oh,
because I think that can be a tricky one, especially for entrepreneurs who are, used to having irregular income.
It's tempting to just take money out whenever you need it, especially when you've built the business yourself.
Yeah, but that can create this real feast or famine cycle.
Absolutely. So with Profit First, you start treating your business like a separate entity. That pays you a regular salary, just like any other employee.
Interesting.
You figure out a reasonable salary based on your current financial needs, and you allocate a percentage of each deposit to your owner's pay account.
So you're drawing a clear line between your personal and business finances.
Exactly. And that's really important for long-term financial health. It protects you from the emotional roller coaster of unpredictable income. And it helps you create a more stable personal budget.
Makes sense. Now, those quarterly profit distributions sound pretty enticing, like we actually get to keep a portion of the profits.
We do. It's a critical piece of the Profit First framework. Remember, we're trying to rewire our thinking here.
Right.
To prioritize profit.
Yeah.
And reward ourselves for our hard work. These quarterly distributions are like tangible proof that your business is working for you, not the other way around.
It's like a little celebration of your financial success, which can help reinforce those positive feelings associated with making a profit.
Exactly. And you can use those distributions for anything you want. Vacations, down payment on a house, investments, even just something fun for yourself.
Nice.
The point is, you're making a conscious decision about how to use that money, instead of just letting it get absorbed by day-to-day expenses.
It's about taking control and directing your finances where you want them to go.
Exactly. Now, Michalowicz also shares some really fascinating insights about how our mindset and behavior can affect our financial outcomes.
Okay.
He talks about this concept called loss aversion, which basically means that we feel the pain of a loss more strongly than the pleasure of an equivalent gain.
So we're more motivated to avoid losing money than we are to make it.
Exactly. And this helps explain why it can be so hard to let go of unprofitable clients or cut unnecessary expenses.
Right.
We're afraid of losing what we have, even if it's not really serving us anymore.
It's like holding on to that old sweater that you never wear anymore.
Right, just because you're attached to it.
Even though it's just taking up space in your closet.
Exactly. Michalowicz argues that we need to reframe our thinking and start viewing these cuts as opportunities for growth and efficiency. By letting go of what's not working, we make room for something better.
Kind of like decluttering your finances to make space for new possibilities.
I like that. And this principle applies across all areas of our financial lives, from our business operations to our personal spending habits.
So less is more.
Less is more. Embracing that idea can actually lead to a more abundant and fulfilling financial life.
And it all ties back to that concept of found money.
Right.
It's not always about generating more revenue.
Right.
It's about optimizing what you already have.
Exactly. And that can be as simple as renegotiating contracts, automating tasks, or just becoming more mindful of our spending habits in general. Often there are hidden pockets of profit just waiting to be uncovered.
If we're willing to look for them.
If we're willing to look for them. And that's where I think the Profit First system becomes truly empowering.
Okay.
By giving us a clear structure for managing our money, it frees up mental space to focus on what really matters. Building a business or a life that we love without that constant stress and anxiety of financial instability.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive into Profit First.
Be sure to join us for the final installment, where we'll explore some even more advanced techniques for optimizing the system and achieving even greater financial success.
And until then, think about how you might start implementing some of these principles in your own life. Even small changes can make a big difference over time. Remember, financial freedom is not a destination, it's a journey. And Profit First can help you get there. Welcome back to our final part of our deep dive into Profit First with Mike Michalowicz. We've laid the groundwork, looked at the psychology behind our money habits, how this system works for our personal finances as well. Let's get into some of the advanced techniques you can use to level up your Profit First game.
All right. These are like the fine-tuning strategies that allow you to really tailor the system to your specific needs, kind of like, optimizing a well-oiled machine for peak performance. One technique Michalowicz suggests is using multiple bank accounts.
Okay.
Beyond just the core four, your profit, owner's pay, taxes, and operating expenses, to create separate accounts for specific functions within those categories.
So instead of just having one operating expenses account,
Yeah.
you might have separate accounts for, say, marketing, rent, payroll.
Exactly. This adds another layer of discipline because you allocate a specific amount to each area and you have to stick to it. It also makes it easier to track your spending and see where you might be overspending.
It's like creating these mini budgets within your overall budget.
Right. It brings more intentionality to your spending instead of just letting the money kind of, slip through the cracks.
And then Michalowicz takes this a step further with the concept of hiding accounts.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So this is where you use those online banking features to your advantage.
Yeah.
You can actually hide certain account balances so you don't even see them when you log in.
Interesting.
And this can be a really powerful psychological tool.
I bet.
Especially if you're someone who, tends to justify spending based on how much money you think you have available.
So if I don't see it, I'm less likely to spend it.
Exactly. It removes that temptation and helps you stick to those predetermined allocations that you set up. Another advanced technique is setting up what Michalowicz calls a stocking account.
What's a stocking account?
This is designed for businesses that purchase inventory or supplies in bulk. So instead of having to scramble for the money when you have a big purchase coming up, you proactively set aside a small amount each month to build up a reserve.
So like if I run a bakery and I know I'm going to need a new oven in 6 months, I could contribute a small amount to my stocking account every month to prepare for that expense.
Exactly. This takes the stress out of those big, infrequent purchases.
Right.
And helps you avoid dipping into your profits or going into debt.
So it's all about planning ahead.
And creating smoother cash flow.
What about the drip account? You mentioned that before. How does that work?
The drip account is for handling retainers or prepayments. Any large sums of money that you receive upfront for work that you're going to deliver over time.
Okay.
So instead of putting that money directly into your income account and potentially spending money that you haven't actually earned yet, you put it into this drip account.
Yeah.
And then as you complete the work, you drip a portion of that money into your income account each month.
So it prevents you from artificially inflating your income.
Yeah.
And spending money before you actually earned it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a safety net to make sure you're only recognizing income as you deliver the corresponding value. Now, all of these advanced techniques are great, but they're most effective when they're built on top of a solid understanding of those core profit-first principles.
Right.
It's not about blindly following rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's about adapting the system to your unique situation and making conscious choices about how you manage your money.
And as we talked about before, one of the most important aspects is the mental shift that it creates. It's about changing our relationship with money.
Right.
Moving away from scarcity towards abundance.
Abundance. Recognizing that profit is not a luxury, it's essential. It's about paying yourself first, honoring your financial commitments, and then consciously allocating the remaining resources.
Taking control of your financial future instead of letting your money control you.
Precisely. And by implementing profit first, whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or you're just starting out on your personal finance journey, you'll discover this new sense of security, confidence, and empowerment.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from our deep dive into profit first?
Well, the biggest takeaway is that you have the power to create a financial reality that supports your dreams and your goals. It's not about luck or chance. It's about making conscious choices and setting up systems that work for you. And Profit First gives you the framework to do that.
It's about shifting from a mindset of scarcity to abundance, from fear to empowerment.
And by embracing that new perspective, you'll not only transform your finances, you'll unlock a whole new level of freedom and fulfillment in your business and your life.
Well said. That wraps up our exploration of Profit First. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive with us and that you gained some valuable insights to help you on your journey to financial success.
Remember, it all starts with a decision to prioritize profit, take control of your finances, and build a financial future that reflects your values and your goals.
Until next time, keep learning, keep evolving.